3-0. 6-2, 6-2, 6-2.
What does a true return to the WTA look like? It looks exactly like this. 2 players, 2 sets, no mercy. Eala and Zeynep Sönmez stepped onto the clay courts of the Madrid Open and delivered a message loud enough for the entire women's doubles circuit to hear. They're back, they're locked in, and they mean serious business. Today, we're breaking down one of the most impressive first-round wins of the tournament. Eala and Sonmez took down the experienced duo of Hao-Ching Chan and Fanny Staller, 6-2, 6-2. And we're going deep into what made it work, both on the court and beyond it. Before we dive into the match itself, let's take a step back and understand what was really at stake. Chan and Staller are far from just names on a draw sheet. These are battle-tested competitors. Hao-Ching Chan is a true veteran of the doubles circuit, having reached a career-high ranking of world number 5. She's partnered with some of the very best players on tour and has spent years competing at the highest level, bringing that experience into every match she plays. Fanny Staller is no passenger either. Both players are still ranked inside the top 30 in doubles, arriving in Madrid with the kind of consistency and pedigree that only comes from playing together at a high level over time. Now compare that to Eala and Sonmez. This is a relatively new partnership, still building chemistry, with a ranking sitting around the 100 mark. On paper, it looked like a clear mismatch. This looked like a clear mismatch, and early on, the scoreboard backed that up. But as every tennis fan knows, matches aren't decided on paper. Chan and Staller came out sharp from the very first point. They were composed, clinical, and took control immediately, winning the opening game in a way that raised real questions about whether Eala and Sonmez could handle their pace and experience. In fact, the first 2 games went to Chan and Staller. For a brief stretch, it genuinely felt like experience would dictate the outcome on the Madrid clay. But this is where everything flipped. As soon as Eala settled into her rhythm at the baseline and Sonmez locked in at the net, the entire match dynamic shifted, and it was impossible to miss. Eala became the driving force from the back of the court, holding her position near the baseline, striking with depth and power, and controlling both the pace and direction of rallies with precision at the same time. Sonmez executed her role perfectly up front. She read the play early, anticipated well, cut off angles, and punished anything short with sharp, decisive volleys. This wasn't random positioning. It was a deliberate tactical setup. Ella's job was to apply pressure and dominate from the baseline, while Sonmez's responsibility was to finish points and take control of the net. And for most of that first set, they executed the plan with real composure. After dropping those early games, they responded immediately and closed it out 6-2, clean, controlled, and purposeful. If the first set showed how dangerous Eala and Sonmez could be once they found their rhythm, the second set revealed just how dominant they can be when everything clicks from the very first point. This time, there was no slow start. From the opening exchange, they looked like a completely different level of team, controlling the tempo, dictating play, and moving across the court as one cohesive unit. To their credit, Chan and Staller didn't go away quietly. They pushed back, managed to claw their way into a few games, and had moments where they looked genuinely threatening. In the longer rallies especially, they began to find small gaps, threading shots between Eala and Sonmez and using their experience to build pressure. In those stretches, they looked composed, confident, and very much in the fight. It was clear this wasn't a team that was going to roll over. Their experience started to show, and for a brief period, it worked, but Eala and Sonmez had a response every single time. They reset, refocused, and then raised their level again with even more clarity and intent. Once they took back control of the second set, there was no opening left for a comeback. Chan and Staller couldn't find the breakthrough they needed, and just like the first set, Eala and Sonmez closed it out with authority. 6-2. The final scoreline, 6-2, 6-2. 2 sets. Comfortable. Dominant. Now, let's talk about what truly makes this partnership special, and it goes far beyond tactics or tennis IQ. The chemistry between Eala and Zeynep Sönmez isn't something you can build in a single training block or a short pre-tournament session. It's something that has clearly developed over time through shared experiences, genuine respect, and a real friendship you can feel every time they step on the court together. watch them between points. Pay attention to how they communicate, the encouragement, the energy, the constant back and forth that keeps both players mentally sharp and emotionally connected throughout the match. There isn't a single moment in this performance where frustration creeps in, where doubt shows in their body language, or where either player looks anything less than fully committed to the other. That kind of connection under pressure is rare. It can't be faked. And it comes from two people who genuinely care about each other beyond just being doubles partners. Off the court, that bond is just as clear. You can see it in interviews, in social media, and in the way they carry themselves as a team. There's a natural ease between them. They laugh together, support each other, and celebrate individual moments just as much as shared success. That foundation of real friendship is what gives them an edge when matches get tough. Because when you truly trust someone as a person, trusting them in high-pressure moments on the court becomes second nature. That instinct was on full display in Madrid, and it showed up in almost every exchange. Whenever Sonmez stepped forward to close at the net, Eala was already rotating behind her, reading the situation and covering the open space at the baseline. And when Eala unloaded from the back of the court, going for those aggressive, high-pressure strikes, Sonmez had already anticipated the next shot, adjusting her positioning to stay one step ahead of the rally. At times, their movement and awareness looked almost telepathic, like both players were operating on the same wavelength without needing to say a word. And that level of synchronization doesn't come from a few weeks of practice or a handful of matches together. It's built over time. It comes from trust, from communication, and from two players who have genuinely invested in their connection, not just as doubles partners, but as individuals who understand and support each other off the court as well. Then there's the competitive fire they both bring. Neither Eala nor Sonmez is content with just being part of the draw. They're not here to participate. They're here to compete at the highest level. They push themselves, and just as importantly, they push each other. That shared standard is what allowed them to absorb the brief surges of momentum from Chan and Staller in the second set without losing control. Every time pressure built, they responded with more focus, more clarity, and a noticeable rise in intensity. Madrid has only just begun, but this performance has already made one thing very clear. Eala and Sonmez are a team you need to keep a close eye on. A straight set 6-2, 6-2 win over a top 30 doubles pairing in the opening round, delivered with this kind of control and chemistry, is not something you can brush off as a one-off result. This wasn't luck. This was a statement performance, and the challenge only gets tougher from here. The Madrid clay is one of the most demanding environments on the tour. The rallies are physical, the conditions test your endurance, and the level of competition only rises with each round. There's no easy path forward. But if Eala and Sonmez can carry this same level of intensity, maintain this connection, and continue executing with this kind of tactical discipline, there is absolutely no reason they can't make a deep run in this tournament. They have the power to control points from the baseline. They have the touch and awareness to dominate at the net. And most importantly, they have the trust and chemistry that holds everything together when the pressure rises. That if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button and drop your prediction in the comments. How far do you think Eala and Sonmez can go in Madrid? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next one.